This may be a bit controversial, but I'm going to say it anyways. If you're not happy, you're not healthy. There, I said it. And I stand by it because it's the truth. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica. I'm a former nurse practitioner turned health and mindset coach, and I teach people how to create their dream life and find true, lasting wellness. If that sounds like something you want, then just keep watching. If you're not happy, you're not healthy. Hear me out. You can eat all the right foods and exercise every single day if you want, but if you're miserable on the inside, none of that matters. Being in the health and fitness world for a while now, I can say with zero doubt that just as there are depressed and miserable millionaires, there are people with your dream body, the exact body that you want, who are also unhappy and miserable. Having the dream body doesn't fix all of your problems. But isn't it true that if you look good, you feel good? Well, yeah, maybe temporarily. But what happens when you get to that point where you feel like you look good, and because you haven't done the deeper work, you just find something else that you want to change, something else that you're unhappy with yourself about? Until you find a way to love your body and to love yourself just as you are, without any other changes to your life, until you find a way to love yourself in this moment right now, all of the other stuff is superficial and won't really truly add anything to your life. You have to find a way to look inside of yourself to really get to know you on a deeper level and learn to love yourself for all of the other things. You can look however you want to look. That doesn't change who you are on the inside. Yeah, okay, the whole bit about confidence increases when you look good, whatever. I can understand that, but not in a sense of looking a certain way. In a sense of I'm taking care of myself, so I'm feeling better. I'm taking care of myself on all levels. I am taking care of my body. I'm putting in good foods, but also indulgent foods. I am exercising because it feels good. I am sleeping enough. I'm drinking my water, all of those things. Doing those things because you love yourself and not because your goal is to change yourself. Big difference. I'm not saying that you can't have physical goals. It's not wrong to desire to build some muscle to feel stronger or to desire to lose some weight to feel healthier. But if we're doing it for an appearance reason, that's where the issue comes in. Yes, you can want to look a certain way, but what happens if the way you want to look is unattainable for you? Example, lean, thin girl wants big, juicy glutes. And she's trying so hard to make that happen. And she feels like until she gets those big, juicy glutes, she is less valuable. She is letting herself down. She's a failure. But what if her body type is just never meant to have those big glutes? Is she never going to be valuable ever? Well, that sounds silly, right? But this is something that happens every day, all day long. We have these physical goals and feel like until we get to that point, we're not valuable, or we can't love ourselves, or I'm going to constantly pick myself apart and beat myself down to try and get to that goal. But what happens along the journey? What happens along the journey? You lose your self-esteem. You feel bad. You feel unhappy. You risk your relationships because you don't value yourself. You don't value other things in life besides attaining this physical goal. It just doesn't make sense. I've been there. I have been there. Oh boy. I spent way longer than I want to admit depriving myself, and dramatically depriving myself, like 1,900 calories a day. Really, really low. I was hungry, but I thought it was normal. I thought it was admirable to allow myself to get this hungry. Some nights I couldn't fall asleep because I was so hungry. Did I lose some weight? Yes. Was I healthy? More importantly, was I happy? Definitely not. But the twisted part of it is that I thought that doing these things was actually going to lead me to happiness, because once I lost the weight, then I would be happy. This was me. Looking at that picture, I can say, yeah, she looks good. I even had someone years after this picture, maybe about 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. I showed somebody that picture, just like, hey, look at how I used to look. And she literally said, what happened? And the messed up thing is that I think a lot of people think that and just don't say it. But to hear those words, what happened? I was like, well, I started living again. Like, my body was never meant to be that tiny. I could get that tiny by doing all the things that are unhealthy, but it was never maintainable. It was never meant to be maintainable because I've always been a curvy girl. I've always been a curvy girl ever since I was younger. I was made to believe that there was something wrong with that. I was made to believe that I was wrong in some way and that I should desire to change my body. And that started early and it grew up with me. And then I went into a not very good relationship that completely multiplied all of those insecurities. It took years of repairing that, of desiring to repair that, of looking at the things that I can find to love about myself. I've always been very self-conscious about my legs. So thinking of things that my legs do for me, aside from how they look. Strength training has been a huge part of it. Seeing your body be strong is really cool. But it also goes way deeper than that. It's not just, like I said before, like I've said many times now, it's not just the physical part of it. What are you on the inside? Who are you? Because you're not just how you look. You're not just your body. And to be honest, how you look is the least interesting thing about you. Think of some of your favorite people. I doubt that they're your favorite person because of how they look. This life is not meant to be consumed with physical appearances or with achieving physical goals that define you and your willingness to adhere to a strict lifestyle. Life is way more than that. Life is way more fun than that. It's way more interesting. It's way more exciting. But when you hyper focus on those things, how can you possibly focus on anything else? If I could go back and talk to the 22-year-old version of myself that only cared about how little I could get my food intake and how much I could do cardio and how flat my stomach was, if I could go back and talk to her, I would shake her and say, wake up. Wake up. Life is so beautiful. You are dramatically limiting how much you can see the beauty in the world because you are only focused on how your body looks. I would tell her to do the deeper work that allows you to learn what's inside of you. Spending time with yourself and your thoughts. This is a huge one. This is a huge one that most people don't want to do because it's uncomfortable. But isn't exercise uncomfortable? Isn't growth uncomfortable? Isn't change uncomfortable? Just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's bad. So spending intentional, quiet time just with yourself and your thoughts and learning about yourself from yourself. Learning, where do my thoughts go when I just let them? You might find out some really cool stuff about yourself. You might have an idea, some random inspiration to do something crazy and fun, and that could lead you to your life purpose. But you'll never find that out until you get to know yourself on a deeper level. And like I said, when you're only focused on the external part of you, it's nearly impossible to also focus on the deeper part. Because what happens is when you really get to know yourself on a deeper level, you want to take care of yourself and nourish your body and move your body and rest your body and drink your water and meditate and grow your mind and all of those beautiful things. Experience the beautiful things in life. And when you fully submerge yourself into all of the beautiful things in life, you see that life is so much greater than how you've been living. Can you have physical goals? Sure. But it cannot take away from your inner journey to know yourself and to experience this life on a deeper level. There has to be an area in the middle. There has to be a way to do the things that make you feel good, exercise and eat right, while also focusing on the other wonderful parts of life. And the great news is that you can do that. You absolutely can, but it takes some change. It takes shifting your attention. It takes kind of rewiring your thoughts and your beliefs. It takes convincing yourself that you are worth more than what you've given yourself credit for. You are worth more than just how your body looks. So my journey back from this picture has looked like loving myself through gaining weight. And the weight gain has not been unhealthy in any way. I have been loving this life, eating yummy foods, eating foods that are nutritious, exercising, resting, connecting with those around me, just taking intentional time just to enjoy and not thinking, oh, well, I shouldn't eat this delicious food that my sister who went to culinary school made for me because it might have too many calories. That's ridiculous. Yes, don't overindulge. Don't make yourself sick. That's not the point either. But eat what you want to eat. And when you do that more and you learn to trust yourself, you will realize that you can trust yourself. That your ultimate goal is to feel good and to be happy and healthy, not just to look a certain way. And when you get to that point, that's where it's at. Not caring if so-and-so from college thinks you gained weight. I did. And it's been the best weight ever. It's been the most delicious weight because I went way too long in my life never indulging. I tell this story because it's a very good example of how bad I had gotten. I was way too obsessed with a certain food tracking app. And one time at work, when I was working as a nurse, they had some snacks in the break room and they had Doritos. And at that point I hadn't had chips or anything like that in a long time. And I was starving and the Doritos looked really good. So I ate one and I tracked one Dorito. There was another time that my boyfriend at the time made a cake just because he wanted to eat it. And I sat in the bathroom and cried because it smelled so good. And I knew that I couldn't have it. Looking back at times like that make me infinitely grateful to be at this place now. To be in this body that I love, this fuller, more vibrant body that I love. Because I made the choice to prioritize me and not what everyone sees or not what I see in the mirror and making it smaller. Do you have the courage to do that? Do you have the courage to lean into all of the wonderful things about life and to prioritize the superficial aspect less? I absolutely hate the weight conversation, but just because I know that people are wondering, I have probably gained 30-ish pounds since, I don't know, the last 5 years or so. And at first it was a little bit uncomfortable, but the trade-off was feeling stronger, having more energy, feeling able to eat foods and knowing that I can and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Because let's be honest, eating a piece of cake does not make you gain weight overnight. But the guilt that comes from it when all you care about is restricting is way greater than the fraction of a ounce that you might gain on the scale. You don't gain fat that quick. You don't. But the guilt that follows you around for eating that piece of cake doesn't feel good. Why do we do that to ourselves? Why? Speaking, of course, from experience. Why do we do that to ourselves? You are worth so much more than how you look, than the number on the scale. You are worth so much more than that. And I'm not saying to go gain 100 pounds and be unhealthy. That's not what I'm saying either, because that goes way on the other side. But there's a beautiful place in between where you prioritize your health, your real health, not just being lean, and you actually live your life. None of this would have been possible for me without starting to do the deeper work. And the beautiful thing about that is that all of us can do the deeper work. It just takes a commitment and a decision to do that. But once you start doing that, your life will completely change for the better. Journaling, sitting alone in silence, meditation, visualizing the future that you want to have, visualizing you feeling your best, actually putting yourself there, closing your eyes and seeing it. All of these things are backed by science, and they're all things that you can start doing right now. So on that note, I will close with a question. Do you have the courage? Do you have the courage to let your life get bigger? To let your happiness get bigger? Do you have the courage to do that? Because it takes a fair amount of courage. But if you can find that within yourself and actually do it, I promise you, you will be so happy. You will be so proud of yourself. You will look back at yourself and think, I'm so happy that person did that work, because now I get to live this life. Now I get to live this life where I don't worry about those things. So, do you have the courage? Spoiler alert, I know you do. You just have to find it for yourself as well. If any of this resonated and you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video.